kids would just want me to talk to them. Just tell us stuff. I mean, because it's amazing how interested kids are in just about anything. If somebody will just talk to them about it. Something like,
well, it could be anything. It's
It-
just
that's what I
it's
mean. It
showing
could
an
be
interest
just
in.
anything. And of course, kids respond fiercely to if an adult shows interest in something, it must be interesting. But if adults are bored with everything, they don't show any. The kids aren't gonna. Why am I gonna hang around with it?
Mm-hmm.
There's got nothing to say. And for some reason we just don't appreciate that. We think this kid has no idea where he lives, and he doesn't. But he can get interested in stuff as long as you are. If you're interested in the fact that you think it's important that he knows where he lives, he's going to know where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
Just to prove to you that he's trying to be a grown-up. Because that is the mission of every child.
Is to grow up.
Yeah,
Be a grown-up.
You want to be a grown-up.
Mm-hmm.
Because and then of course the tragic part of that whole thing is then people get to adulthood and realize they've been grossly disillusioned. They want to go back to being kids, but they want to go back to being kids with all the adult privileges.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Yes. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But again, they would, and so I would engage these kids. And these kinds of conversations would invariably, normally take place before school, because before school I would usually be one of the first people at school, arriving at school, because then I would I would make the first pot of coffee. But anyway, the thing is, the buses arrive, and I would just go to a classroom. And just talk to the kids and see how things are going and all that kind of stuff. Because remember, I'm the guy who's at some point going to be subbing in your room, and they need to know me and how I operate and all that. And so then we would get in these conversations, and the more the conversation went on, the more questions got asked. It was classic. It was classic, in a way, Socratic method. Ask questions, evaluate answers. No textbook, no nothing. I just ask you, what makes you think you're alive? And you try to explain that to me. And that's Socratic learning. But in this case, it was different. They'd ask me questions, so to just start this chain of conversation and evolution of the conversation.
Okay.
But they would get really interesting and, of course, convoluted, and because those things do that, because you just get to a certain point and then you come to this fork in the road where you can either go right or left, and you just choose one, and then it runs down that track for a while, but and some kids are very good at following that and participating in that. And of course, like anything else, other kids aren't. It's of no interest in them. And it may just be the subject matter. Or, it's one of the hardest things I would have at school that was always of interest, but I had a hard time explaining, was weather, the basic principles of weather. There were kids who simply would not believe it. They would not accept the idea that warm air rises and cold air sinks. Warm air can absorb a lot of moisture vapor because the air particles are moving away from each other and creating space. cold air, the air particles move closer and closer together, and if there is water vapor in there, it basically squeezes it out, and we call that precipitation. They would not believe it. It's absolutely wrong. Where did you get
This hogwash.
It's
I know,
hogwash.
and how can
Yeah,
you?
man. Huh?
I mean, you can prove it to them by saying, "Oh, look at the clouds," but is there really a way to show them? Because you can't. You can't show them air and it moving and whether it's hot or cold.
Right, yeah, well,
You know, in a way that a kid would understand.
right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the kids who were so opposite like that, I mean, they never read anything. They lacked that vital element of curiosity that they would find out. But they didn't, and so but what you found out about it, they didn't accept. But they never didn't work. They just denied it. I mean, that was their role, to just deny it. And so basically, my conclusion is, they probably did the same thing with everything. They just denied it. That's not true. That's fake news. That's it.
Now, did you? I believe you told me a story before about making baskets in the waste basket in the teacher's lounge. How you would just like start practicing.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
That's a great
Right,
one.
because I took my lunch to school in a paper bag,
Okay.
and I would make my own lunch because I was doing a lot of running, and I just wanted to make sure that I ate well so I could run faster and faster. So it was what happened was I finished my lunch. I had my paper bag, all up my paper bag, and for some obscure reason, I started throwing the wadded up paper bag into the wastebasket. And then for some reason, I started hook shotting the paper bag into the wastebasket. And I have no idea what precipitated that. I just did. And then it evolved to the point where if I attempted the shot and it didn't go in, I went and got the paper bag, and had to take one step backwards and do it again, and do that until I made the shot. And it was just this bizarre discipline thing to make sure that I was doing this. And then when we would go outside, at Calder we didn't have a basketball hoop, right, but in the gym we did. And when we would be down in the gym, just playing around, I would do that same thing with basketballs. So I'd like hook shot the basketball into the basket. Doing the same thing. Make the shot. If you don't make it, the penalty is you have to move further away, not closer. No, because after all, I'm a Trucks. Making things easy is heresy. But as what happens is you get good at this. You get spread. And after a while, you take that wadded up paper bag and hook shot it into the basket. It makes no difference how far away across the room you are. You always make it. And then the culmination of this whole thing with the hook shots and the basketballs. The year that I retired, we had our fourth and fifth grade activity night at school, and I think it was on a Thursday or a Friday. It doesn't matter, and I don't remember. And then we have all the kids because their parents come to school, and we have this wonderful time, all of these activities and cupcakes and all of this. So the evening is winding down, and I'm in the gym. And I'm in for no particular reason. I think it was just in there talking with some parents, and it comes. I get this basketball, and now I am not at half court. with the basketball. I'm at almost full court. I'm like 7/8 of the way away from that basket, and I take the ball and I hook shot it, and it goes in. And his father says to me, "That is one hell of a way to end a career."
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I had absolutely no hope of making that basket. I mean, that is a long way, no matter how you throw it. But you get so much leverage with a hook shot. You get almost.
That's a very long way.
Yeah, it's a very long way.
That's something you take to a professional basketball game, and they call somebody from the audience and say, "Hey, if you can make it, you get $1 million, and you win a lot of money."